Thank you all for joining. I hope you've stored up your excitement for today's Solar Plus Battery. Take charge of your energy security discussion. My name's Nicole Cooper. I'm a marketing manager here at Straight Up Solar, and I just joined the team back in February of 2020, so just over a year. With me is Matt Farwig. He's a solar project developer here at Straight Up Solar. Matt, did you want to say hello?
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Thanks a lot for joining. As Nicole mentioned, I'm Matt Farwig, a project developer. Been with Straight Up Solar for almost 4 years, coming up in July here, and used to work in the coal-fired power plant industry and have switched to renewable energies for the last 4 years.
Nice, thank you. We're also joined today by our lead field project coordinator, Adam Kina. He has extensive training and experience working with batteries. Adam, did you want to say a quick hello?
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Adam here. I've been with Straight Up Solar about 5 years, and as Nicole had mentioned there, lead field project coordinator, so I oversee the installation and plan for and commission systems.
Nice, thank you. Go to the next slide here. So I wanted to start by sharing Straight Up Solar's broad vision. We care about people and we care about our planet. And to do this, we focus on clean energy and building sustainability, not only in the economy, but also for the environment. Our goal is to build a healthy, shared future for us all. And we've built our business on these core values. And speaking of values, we practice something called clear values with an E at the end, which means we put community first. We try to lead the solar tribe by educating, advocating solar policy, respecting each other and the environment, and striving for excellence in all that we do. So now you know a little bit about our values. Here's a little bit more about our company. Straight Up Solar is Illinois and Missouri's most experienced turnkey solar energy design and installation firm with over 1,700 installations since 2006. We were founded by our president, Dr. Dane Glick. At the time, he was doing a medical residency in Kentucky. He's actually a doctor, so he was doing his medical residency. And he witnessed the devastation of mountaintop removal for coal mining. And he decided to look for an alternate energy source for his home. And with no luck finding a solar company to install a solar array, he educated himself. He got certified through NABCEP, which is a clean energy, like a professional certification. He installed solar on his own home. And then from there, his friends, his family, businesses, they all wanted to go solar as well. And so Straight Up Solar blossomed into a business rooted in caring for others by creating a path for clean energy and a sustainable economy. We now have over 85 people working with us today. About half of our team is NABCEP certified. And as a team, we're excited to help homeowners and businesses reduce their electricity costs, gain energy independence, and secure a powerful return on their investment with solar. We're also a member of the Amicus Solar Cooperative, which is a large organization of solar companies who come together to share trade knowledge and a shared passion for sustainability. We're also a certified B Corp, which means we put people and planet above profit. And then we'll be diving into our battery products very soon. So I don't want to skip ahead too far. And then we're also an REC solar panel premium installer, and we offer a 10-year workmanship and production warranty. Today, we've got quite a few topics to cover, including whether a battery is right for your home, the benefits of a battery, including more details on a backup for your home during a power outage. We'll show you our product lineup, including the Generac Power Cell, Tesla Powerwall, and Endphase Charge. We're going to cover how batteries work, show you a couple images of what an installation looks like, and then we'll talk about how to get started. All right, Matt, are you ready to take charge on the presentation?
I am, yes. Thank you, Nicole. So first, thank you again, everybody, for joining. So first, we're going to look at is a battery right for you? So if you're looking to consume more of the energy that you produce through your solar system, batteries are definitely a good option to add to that. If you want to take control of your power in the event of a grid failure or power outage, so that is a big misconception with solar, is that if the grid goes down, you'll still have energy if you have solar. Code requires solar to shut down with the grid. So a way to circumvent that is with batteries. And then in the event you already have a generator, this is just a redundant backup, so just more additional power that will back you up during the power outages. And then for some of the folks in Southern Illinois, if you're joining us, some of the utility, particularly the rural co-ops, They are not very friendly as far as if you produce more energy than what your home consumes. If you produce more energy with solar than what your home consumes, they're not very helpful on giving you a credit for that. And even here, if you're in Missouri with Ameren, they give you a slight credit, but it's not the full value of what they charge you. So another benefit to to batteries is you get to consume and keep and use all that power that you've generated. If you are looking to avoid a noisy generator backup, so you don't want to disturb the neighbors, keep the kids up, batteries are a good option. If you don't want to store flammable or explosive diesel fuel or gasoline on site, batteries are definitely a good option. And then also the infrastructure costs for propane or natural gas. We're all subject to those cost increase, and batteries and solar are a great way to circumvent that issue. So what are the benefits of pairing battery and solar? And so what Nicole's going to do right now is transmit out a poll. So we ask if you can please participate in that poll. And we're basically just getting one to get an idea of where's everybody at in their solar and battery process. So do you already have solar and a battery? Looks like off to a good start with folks that already have solar that want to add it. Some folks that are considering solar. And some folks that are just, inquiring. So we greatly appreciate you guys all joining. It looks like we've got about 24 seconds. If you can go ahead and get your answers submitted, please. Okay, we'll wrap up in a minute here. Okay, so it looks like 61% of the folks already have solar, so that's awesome. Some folks are considering solar and then potentially a battery, and then 17% just coming in for informational purposes. So thanks for filling that out. Okay, so now we'll dive into the benefits of batteries. So batteries must always pair with solar in order to get the federal tax credit. So there's a tax credit for this year that whatever your cost is, the total system cost, the IRS or federal government will give you 26% of that cost back to you. And so you have to pair that with, pair the battery with solar in order for that to apply. One thing I do like to point out is that for the folks that already have solar, if you purchase a battery now, that tax credit will apply because it is being powered by solar, so it's considered part of the solar system. So even if you installed solar several years ago, you do get to apply that same credit. Then of course the benefits, again, when the grid is down, you'll need a battery to access your solar power and backup protection when your power goes out, and then being able to use your solar energy when the sun goes down. So, now if you just have solar, you send that back to the grid and there's likely a reduction in the value of that energy cost. So this is a way for you to hold on to that energy and release it at night or when the sun goes down at its full value. And then with batteries, there's no maintenance and no additional fuel costs. You don't have to change the oil or have it fire up every week to make sure everything keeps running. Very hands off. And then again, if you have a utility that's not very solar friendly, it's going to allow you to get the full value of the energy that your solar system has created. And just for a quick reference, Southwest Electric Co-op is SWECI there, MJM Electric Co-op, and then Madison County Electric Co-op. Those are three rural utilities or community utilities, I should say, that basically give you very little to no credit. So if you happen to be in one of those territories, batteries are definitely a good option. Next slide, please, Cole. Thank you. And then, so the big thing with solar, no matter where you live, is backing up your power. So you can see we've got our Generac cell there. We just want to give you an image of the versatility of batteries. You can store them both inside and outside. They are rated for both. Our preference is indoors somewhere, but we just want to kind of give you an idea of what a battery cell looks like. So next slide, please, Nicole. All right, so if you haven't heard me say it yet, biggest benefit is backup power during an outage. So batteries allow the solar inverter to operate when the sun is shining, and also provides electricity after the sun goes down. And it's also a seamless transition. So with some of our batteries, when the grid goes down, it's so seamless that you don't even notice that the grid's gone down and that you're pulling off your battery. You actually have to have an app on your phone to tell you that the grid's down, because you won't see your clocks reset or the lights flicker. That's how quick it is. And then with all of our battery products that we offer, you do get a mobile app where you can manage whether you want your battery to store energy that your solar is producing, discharge it, those kind of things. So you get full control over the whole system, and that's through your phone. So even if you're not home, you can also manage, how that power is being controlled. So next slide, Nicole. All right. And the different types of batteries we offer here at Straight Up Solar. So the first, there's Generac. Theirs is called the Power Cell. It's our most value option, so it's very affordable. And then the next one that most people are probably familiar with is the Tesla Powerwall. So they've kind of got the household name recognition with a very cool technology and support for their products. And then a newer one to our fleet is the Endphase Encharge. And so it's very good as far as having redundancies within the system. In the event that one component fails, everything will keep working. And then we'll go ahead and kind of dive into each one of those here a little bit more. So the Generac Power Cell, it's got an energy capacity of 8.6 to 17.1 kilowatt hours. Just to explain a kilowatt hour for the folks that aren't too familiar with solar, it's basically the unit of measurement that the utilities use to bill us. So that kind of gives you an idea of what the capacity is. With Generac, it'll run 3.4 to 6.7 kilowatts of continuous backup power. And it can be floor or wall mounted. Again, indoor or outdoor. Our preference is indoor. It has an equipment warranty of 10 years. And then it's also very versatile with the Generac. So you can start small with a big tall cabinet you can see there, and maybe just put a battery or two in. And then as your energy needs change, or you realize you want more backup, you can add to that cell, or to that cabinet. So it's very modular, and then you can start small and add to it. And then of course, cost, everybody wants to know. This is just rough pricing. Every home and situation is different, but a rough ballpark is between $13,000 and $20,000 for the Generac system. All right, and then the next one, the Tesla Powerwall. So each individual Powerwall unit has a capacity of 13.5 kilowatt hours. That'll give you 5 kilowatts of continuous backup power. Again, it can be floor or wall mounted, and I can tell you probably floor is the preference since they're extremely heavy. And we can actually daisy chain up to 10 Powerwalls together to cover your energy storage needs. And it also has an equipment warranty of 10 years, and you can kind of see we're stepping up in cost. So the average cost for one to three batteries ranges between $18,000 and $38,000 installed. And again, that's ballpark, but that is everything out the door. So permitting, installation, all the labor, all the material cost, everything. So just to give you a rough idea of what each one costs. And then if we can get to our last one there. So this is our newest product offering. It's the Endphase Encharge. So some folks may already have Endphase inverter systems, and this is their proprietary battery system that works with that inverter type. And so it has an energy capacity of 3 all the way up to 40 kilowatt hours. It will have 1.28 up to 15.36 kilowatts of continuous backup power. Again, can be floor or wall mounted, and also has a 10-year warranty. And then you can combine up to 4 10 kilowatt hour batteries if you're looking for what we call a whole home backup. So in most cases, should mention, if you're looking at just one battery, what we do, or one even, maybe up to 2 to 3, we'll just back up certain loads of your home. I'm sure Adam wants us to touch on that point because, we always try to be very clear up front of what, the combination or the quantity of batteries will back up. So if you're just looking at one battery to start with, it's something we do fairly often. We would just isolate what you want to back up and put those circuits in a separate panel and then back up that panel with the batteries. And so cost on the Endphase ranges anywhere from $20,000 to $40,000 installed. All right, and then how does a battery work with solar, in conjunction with solar? So if you look at the chart on the left there, so power usage would be the vertical axis, and then time of day. So if you just have solar, like sounds like a lot of folks on here do, basically the blue bell curve, your production curve there, is what you're producing throughout the day. And you can see what the gray line down toward the bottom there, that's the energy that's being consumed at your house. So your home's consuming power all day long. But then what happens if you just have solar is you way overproduce, as during, starting in the morning, peaking at noon, and then going down towards the end of the day. And then basically you're sending that power back to the grid. And in some cases, the utility is very helpful or friendly, and they'll credit you back the excess power you produced. But in many cases, if they give you a credit at all, they will take some of that value away. But then if you look over to the chart on the right, that's the combination of solar with a battery. So same thing, you've generated the same amount of solar as you would, or excuse me, the same amount of power as you would with just solar. But then when you add a battery, you're not sending that power back to the grid at a loss, potentially. You're storing that in your battery. And then when everybody comes home at night, you turn down the AC, turn on all the electronics, you're going to utilize that energy that you produce during the day at night through your battery. And again, that's going to give it back to you at its full market value, opposed to being, susceptible to some of those net metering policies that we see. So that just kind of gives you an idea of how the batteries can help, throughout the day. All right, and then the different modes for batteries. So again, the biggest thing is backup generation. So it reserves 100% of your battery energy to provide seamless power to your home in the event of an outage. And then some of our clients don't realize that they're missing out on self-generated opportunities when the weather is sunny and calm. So basically meaning that, when we, have a very clear day with a lot of sun, you're way overproducing, sending that power back to the grid, potentially at a loss. And then the other battery mode is self-powered. So that stores solar energy not used during the day to power your home at night. And then for net metering customers, it might not make a difference, but when you're being paid a wholesale rate for net metering, this option is very beneficial. And then it increases the solar energy that powers your home. So this is truly the best way to become more energy independent and less tied to the grid. And one thing I do want to point out is with all of our solar systems, we do keep you tied to the grid, just because, independent solar systems are extremely hard to calculate. And we have days, like this week where there's a lot of overcast. We don't want folks to not have the backup of the grid. But what batteries really do is help keep you isolated from the grid as much as possible. And so we do have another poll here that Nicole is going to launch for us here. And then this is just a poll on, after hearing more about them, which mode are you most interested in? So backup power, self-powered to offset the electricity costs, or both. Or some folks are still learning. And please, if you have questions, feel free to ask. Cool. Looks like we've got 5 more folks. They'd like to try to get their vote in here. We'll run it up to a minute. Okay. So it looks like, yeah, almost 74% of the folks are interested in utilizing both power modes. We've got 3 folks that are just looking for the self-power for offsetting electricity costs, and then a couple folks that are still learning about the process. So go ahead and shut that down there. The next slide, please, Nicole. Okay, and then what does an install look like? So now we're going to kind of go through how we set up an installation. So if you can picture, this would be a garage or a basement. We've got solar panels on the roof or potentially mounted on the ground. That energy comes in DC format. That solar inverter flips it to AC, which is the power that your home and the US grid uses. And then so if you look on the left, that would be our whole home backup. So we would go from the solar panels to the inverter into your main panel. And if you look just below that, there's that conduit running down to the Powerwall there. And we would have, if we're looking at a whole home, we would need at least 2 of those. In many cases, at least 3 to 4. But then we run that main panel to that battery. So that battery becomes almost like a third power source. So you've got the power from the utility, the power from your solar, and by having that connected to the panel, that becomes a third power source. And then from there, the system goes through the gateway, which is essentially the brains or the control part of the system, and then out to your utility meter. Then if you look over to the right, essential loads only, which I think is our more common setup. Again, solar from the roof into your inverter. Then what we do is isolate those critical loads. So it may be your deep freeze. Some folks do like a bedroom or maybe the TV room, things that they want to have powered on during an outage. We would take those out of the main panel and put those in that essential loads panel. And you can see there again, we run that down to the battery. And then that battery basically becomes the power source for those essential loads. And then it would go through our gateway brain control system, and then on to the main panel, and then out to the utility meter. And then you can see on the graph down there, so anything gray would be existing equipment. So that's your normal house wiring with solar, and the blue would be the addition of the battery backup. So next slide, please, Nicole. All right, and if you don't recognize that gentleman on the left there, that's Adam here. So this was, we were talking about this before the call, but I believe our first, first battery install. This was actually a client of mine here in the St. Louis metro area. And so when I first walked into the client's home, there was a lot of, call it unique wiring done to his panel. And so even with my amateur electrical knowledge, knew that, we'd probably need to do some work to it. Client was, completely understood. And so we did, we cleaned up that whole panel, and you can see, basically we put that distribution bar, which is that horizontal bar in the middle there. And Adam, if you'd like to jump in some of the more details there. But we're very big on clean installations, whether that's just solar alone or with the battery as well. So we really pride ourselves on quality work and also on getting inspection approval on the first time. Not to say it happens every time, but we really put a lot of stress on doing quality installs, as you can see here. All right, and then every home is unique. So again, we customize it, your battery solution to fit the unique needs of your home. So that includes, how much solar power capabilities do you have based off your roof size or ground size, how much power do you consume, how much, do you want to back up, those kind of things. You can see there's the Generac power cell installation. All right, and then to go on the big end. So this was not one of my projects, but you can see here, this is a project where we did 3 Tesla Powerwalls. So we still use that same distribution bar. It's probably the wrong terminology. My apologies, Adam, but that kind of runs all the conduits between. And then so the 3 big panels in the upper left there, that's the inverters in this case. And then it looks like it goes to that essential loads panel, and then to the meter, and then to the main panel. Maybe mixing up that path there, but you can see, the capability of our electricians and our install crew. They just do phenomenal clean work, and so we just want to show folks, what a big system install looks like.
Hey Matt, it's a gutter or a trough is what that piece of equipment is, where we can run all the
myself.
Yeah, run all the wires into one box, and that way it's a little cleaner than having pipes running all over the place. So that's what we kind of use it for, just to keep everything clean and professional.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you, Ed. That's great. All right. So, with solar, or even with solar and batteries, financing is always a question. So we work with a really neat organization called the Clean Energy Credit Union, and they do loans for both solar and batteries. So if you're going to install, solar and a battery at the same time, they've got a really neat rate. And only thing they require is $250 down, and that's at the time of signing. And then what they do is they take 26% of your total system cost, and that goes into an 18-month loan. And you don't have to make any payments on that loan during that 18-month period. And then what you do is file for the federal tax credit, get that money back from the IRS, and then pay off that loan in full. And that's got a interest rate, I think it's somewhere around 4.75 to 5%. So you pay a couple $100 in interest for it, but the benefit is you don't have to front or finance that full 100% of the cost. That 26% gets set aside until you get the money, and then you pay it off. And then the other 74% of the cost, that goes into a long-term loan. And that's either a 12, 15, or 20-year option. So if you want to pay it off as quick as possible, of course, the 12-year option is the best. Or if you're looking for that very low monthly cost payment, the 20 years is going to be your best option there as well. And then for the folks that already have solar, but want to add a battery, they've got a loan for that as well, which they call the home efficiency loan option. And basically, you can apply that to an existing loan if you already have one with the Clean Energy Credit Union, and then your project developer can give you more details on the loan options or the term options, as well as the interest rates. All right. And then from here, I think, Nicole, want to go ahead and take it back over?
Yeah, thank you very much. Now let's walk through the project workflow that you can expect when you're working with Straight Up Solar. Getting started is what you can actually do today by submitting the Get a Quote form. I just dropped a link in the chat if you guys want to go ahead and hop over on that. The info you submit there is actually reviewed by our solar support specialist team. They'll gather all the information needed to start planning your system, and then it goes over to a solar project developer like Matt, and they work with you to set a custom plan. And the project developers really collaborate with you on finding a solution that fits your needs. Once you agree on a solar setup that works best for you, you sign the contract, and then we move to step 3. Step 3 is project guidance. Our project manager they get you the engineered designs, they submit the permitting, we do all the tech on site on your house. And I did want to mention steps 1 and 2 are actually all done virtually. We want to be respectful of social distancing, and similarly, our install crew has regularly updated guidance on COVID precautions. And then we move to step 4, where we actually build the installation. Once it's installed, we then help you schedule a time for the electric company to come out and energize your system. They set up a bi-directional meter, and this typically happens about 30 days after the array is installed. And then once you're energized, you'll be able to enjoy your new solar array. You can monitor the array online to see production. And if you're like a lot of our customers, you'll find yourself on the app checking on sunny days to see how much energy you're actually producing. And then one more thing, if you already have a solar proposal from us, just get in touch with your project developer and they can add a battery to it, or they can get you a quote on it. And I wanted to take a quick minute to mention our webinar next week. If you do not already have solar, this webinar might be a good option to just see kind of some of the factors that we think about when assessing your home for solar. We talk about things all the way from the type of material that's on your rooftop all the way down to your utility bill. And these are all things that determine whether your house is a good fit for a solar installation. And as a values-based solar installation company, our people take a lot of pride in building custom solar solutions for your home. And we have a no pressure solar assessment that takes careful consideration of every customer's unique needs. So we'll walk you through this solar quiz is what we call it next week. If you guys want to sign up, I'm going to go ahead and drop a link in the chat here. Well, here is that. Okay, so this actually concludes the presentation portion of the solar battery webinar. We're going to start our Q&A. If you haven't already, go ahead and add your questions either to the chat or over to the Q&A. I actually saw some really good questions come in that I don't even know the answers to. So I think Adam's been on top of those. But if you did want to go ahead and start your battery project and you have questions, you can go ahead and reach out to Matt Farwig. His details are here. His email address, matt.farwig@straightupsolar.com, and his mobile number is listed here.